This evening, we have a dear brother of ours from Tiberias, Pastor Daniel Yahav from Peniel Fellowship. And most of you will know, who received the bulletin. Peniel is a fellowship that we've supported for many years in prayer support and practical support. And recently, I was just sharing with Daniel, recently with the team, the PFI team, we watched a couple of the latest updates, video updates from Daniel. I found it very emotional and very challenging as well. Daniel shared from his heart. And we're going to hand over to Daniel now. This message will be recorded. If you know of anybody who can't make the gathering, you will have a recording available to pass that on. So welcome, Daniel. Shalom. And it's really good to see you. Thank you for giving up your time. We know you've got to leave us after you share with us. So God bless you. Thank you. And I'll hand over to you.
Yes, thank you very, very much for inviting me. And thank you so much for your prayers. We really, really appreciate that. And I think only in heaven will we all recognize and realize how important these prayers were. So yeah, with this I want to start. Um wow, these last 15 months, the way I can explain it, it was like a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster for me and for us all. But before I go into that, I want to first give God the glory and thank Him that through all this time, He's been with us, um, deep inside, giving us peace, peace in our hearts. Thanking Him that as a fellowship, we have not lost even one meeting. And we're here in Tiberias, and there were rockets falling all around us and drones that were coming in. And yet, um, yeah, we never missed a Saturday worship service. And every Saturday we thank God and saying, God, thank you for another Saturday that we can come together, for another home group meeting that we can come together. One rocket fell very close to our kindergarten, school and kindergarten, and but nothing came close to our building. I mean, there was no damage to our building. Between where the rocket fell and where we are, there was another building in the middle. So, but it was very, very close. Yeah. Um, I want to start with that, giving God all honor and all thanks, and thanking you for your prayers. They've been heard. Let me tell you, I was an officer till recently in the home front defense, and so I'm very well aware of the situation. It's the home front army. A part of the army that is supposed to defend the citizens. And we were preparing for this war over many years, knowing that Hezbollah in Lebanon had 150,000 rockets, and they were working on making them from what we call statistic weapons to exact weapons. Statistic weapons is when you shoot 100 rockets and you hope that one of them will find its target. But turning them to become exact rockets, it means that they would fall within 10 meters away from their target. That means very, very dangerous. And knowing that we had these defense systems, but knowing also that they're not 100% tight, uh, they're not waterproof, So it's enough that one rocket hits our power plants in a serious way that we don't have electricity and water supplies and who knows what. So every day now, as I turn on the water at home and we turn on the light and we have electricity and we have water and I can put my head on my pillow, I say, God, thank you. Thank you. It's none of it is taken as granted. Not at all. Not at all. We're living in a miracle. We're witnessing God's faithfulness and love and grace, which we don't deserve. It's His grace. So I want to start with that. And again, thank you for your prayers. Thank you. We're the same army. We're up at the front lines, you're at the back lines, but your prayer support is very significant. So to encourage you to. Now, I'd like to continue and share with you, at the beginning of this war, 7th of October, it's a Saturday. It was a Saturday. Early in the morning, I get up early as I still prepare myself for the service. And immediately they were coming in first films with butchered soldiers, with blood in their sleeping quarters. And from the little that was starting to come in, it was clear to me there is a massacre going on. And it's not something normal at all. This is a war. And so I came to the fellowship 10:30 in the morning. Most people were not aware of what's going on. And I shared with them, I said, I didn't want to show any of these clips because it would have simply shocked people. But I told people, brothers, sisters, there's a massacre going on right now. We need to pray. This is very, very serious. Um, so that's how it started. And within a short while, 50 and sometimes more of our congregation, fathers, of course, sons, daughters, were all mobilized. Immediately, Israel drafted army units and spread them all along our border with Lebanon, um, in preparation or fearing that, Hamas invaded from Gaza, that they will do that from the north, and it would have been a disaster. Another grace of God, another miracle of God, that they didn't do it. That Hamas went on an offense without telling them, or maybe they knew something but they just didn't get involved, and that's they were the Hezbollah in Lebanon were much worse, much more dangerous. Um, yeah, in number, in their training, in their weaponry, they were much much worse. So, but 50, imagine 50 of your congregation, 50 men, fathers are leaving their wives, their mothers, the little children, and and all being grafted and spread out in the fields. There were no bases where logistically where they would be fed, so they had these war rashes. I mean, these boxes of cans and some dry food, weeks on end. And so we started cooking warm meals in our little kitchen at our congregation. And we came up to sometimes 200, 300, but usually later on it was around 140 or so meals, warm meals that would be delivered to the north, to soldiers. And then we got involved into supporting some of these fathers. They're the only one running their business. Sometimes it's a business that they just started a few months earlier, and here they leave the wife and 5 little children. We're blessed with many children. We don't believe in father, mother, and a dog and a child and one child or something. I have 7 children, and recently we dedicated a girl of a family, and it was their 8th child. And by the way, I got 15 grandchildren by now, so I'm very old. And so we started supporting these mothers that were left behind, financially supporting the fathers, the family. And that was possible by donations also that we got for this emergency time. And we're very, very thankful. And the reward, whoever was donating and so on, the reward is stored in heaven. So it was a very tense time. 3 of my sons were in the army, 2 of them in tank units, combat unit, and another one also combat. I don't want to share where exactly, but all of them were fighting, and you know, very, very dangerous. Lebanon, Syria. Later on, they went into Lebanon, but Gaza, Lebanon and Gaza, this is where they were engaged. And wow, was it something to see my son come out of Gaza after nearly 4 weeks, and that he was there with no shower, with nothing, uh, day and night in the tank. You have to sit in the tank. Even your toilet you need to do in the tank, and everything. It was to see him come out, and days before they finished, his comrades, friends, a tank next to him blew up, and three of the crew, three out of the four crew members were killed on the spot. It was days before, which broke our heart, broke my heart for their parents. So, you're rejoicing seeing your son coming out, and you're crying for the others that didn't. And then the hostages, especially these young girls that were taken. And we know that they were being, because the women, when they came in the 7th of October, it was very painful, very painful. Young girls, that just came, some of them just came 2 days earlier to this base, just, you know, 18-year-old girls coming out, and they're being kidnapped and beaten, bloody, and so on. You've seen, I trust that, and it was very difficult. That, for me personally, that was something that I kept praying to the Lord. Please, God, get them out, get these girls out. Yeah. So when I say roller coaster, on the one side, the war, but then victories, victories in Gaza, victories against Hezbollah in Lebanon, taking out their heads, the pager attack, and all these things. On the other hand, so these are high points. Sorry for the ones that sorry for enemies that are so blinded that they're all on their way to Sheol, to destruction, with this satanic um religion of Islam, that they're thinking they're going to the Garden of Eden. So, but thank God for taking them out, the heads of these vipers, snakes, and so these are like high points when you hear that. But then you see the demonstration all over Europe and in the States, calling Israel, for destruction of Israel, from the river to the sea, Palestine, and so on. That means no Israel, and full of lies in the media, and this unrighteousness, accusing us for genocide and all of these things, all of this evil manipulation. So you're going up and you're going down, and wow, 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 what a time it was. Yeah. And yet deeper, down deeper, there is this level of the head, there is this level of emotion, then there is the deeper level of the spirit, and there you have peace, and you see God's protection, and you see God's blessing all throughout this time. Yeah. And then there is another battle, and it's another prayer request that I'm bringing before you, dear ones. We've had a school, a Messianic, we still have a school. It's the only Jewish Messianic school. Actually, it was the first Messianic school that was opened up in Israel in 1989, as our children were being beaten, literally beaten, in the public schools because of the faith of their families, of their parents. And that went on for quite a while. Altogether, during the 80s, we were being persecuted as a congregation, to the point of setting on fire our meeting place, stoning us, many things. And also the children were being harassed and persecuted in the school. And so, once when how old was she? She was probably 10-year-old girl, came home bleeding from her head, being beaten with a metal bar on her head. When she came home bleeding, that was the rock that broke the camel's back, so to speak, not a straw, the rock. We say, and we started our school. Well, that school was running for 35 years. 500 kids went through the school. It's the only school that only gave a home for Christian families that wanted their kids to have a education of Old and New Testament. And all of the sudden, out of the blue, the Ministry of Education issued a closure order because the number of kids is too small. We didn't get any money from the government, so it's none of their business, and we financed ourselves. Just an attack, and we're fighting this. And I'd like to share with you, dear ones, that I've just recently, like 3 days ago, sent letters to the president of Israel, to the prime minister of Israel, to the foreign ministry and the minister of education, telling them that this is wrong, that we stand on our rights as citizens that serve the country, and we have lots of credit points. We've had many recognitions by the government for well-doing, not just as a school, as citizens. And we're asking them to change this very unjust ruling or decision. And actually, it would help us if friends of Israel, we don't want any help from enemies of Israel. We only turn to friends of Israel. If you will write and approach the embassy in the UK, the Israeli embassy, and write a protest or a letter of concern that we've heard that the only school that serves Messianic Jews and evangelical children in the entire Galilee was shut down. And so that is a prayer request that we have. We're fighting this battle now, and yeah, and actually we pray and we trust. I believe the Lord has allowed it because there's going to be something much greater, not just our little school, but it's time for something much greater. It's time for us to develop, to grow. We have in mind a much larger vision, senior home in the Galilee, a place in the Galilee where we can have our youth camps, and yeah. So and of course a school and a kindergarten. Praise God, we did manage to get a license for a kindergarten. I mean, they had no reason to reject us from the beginning. We've actually spent 500,000 shekel in setting the place, building a bunker, and doing everything so that we had all the certificates, all the license, all the signatures of all experts, but it shut us down because we don't have enough kids. So what? So there is one teacher over 5 kids, and they get more attention by the teacher. Why do you have to close it down? Anyway, that's a prayer request, and my time is running short here, so I don't want to, and my battery is running low. I got 5% left. So, dear ones, really thank you. Thank you for your prayers. And again, if you can write a letter to the ministry, share it with other Christians, pass it on, and yeah, that would be helpful. That would be helpful. So God bless you, dear ones.